They were meant to preserve history. Instead, they preserve something else. Across museums and private vaults, behind glass and gold, lie 17 objects, with one thing in common. Everyone who touched them paid the price. These are not stories from the occult or pages of fiction. They're catalogued, dated, and exhibited. And yet, everyone carries a body count. We open the vault of the past and find that history itself may be cursed. These are 17 cursed relics that were actually real. The Hope Diamond. It sparkles under museum lights, 45.52 carats of flawless blue. But for centuries, it was known as the Gem of Misfortune. Mined in India and stolen from a Hindu idol in the 1600s, legend says it was torn from the statue's forehead. A sacred eye of Vishnu. From King Louis XIV to Marie Antoinette, its owners fell to ruin or execution. When banker Henry Hope bought it in 1839, his family's fortune collapsed. Even after arriving safely in the Smithsonian in 1958, the curator who handled its delivery died soon after. A jewel so beautiful, even the gods demanded it back. The Bassano vase. In 15th century Italy, a bride received a silver vase as a wedding gift. She never made it to the ceremony. Found dead, clutching the vase, her final words were said to be, "I will die soon." Over the next centuries, it passed from hand to hand, each new owner dying within weeks. By the 1980s, it was sealed in a lead box and buried. When unearthed in 1988, museum curators refused to display it. Today, its location is unknown, hidden by Italian authorities who reportedly locked it away for good. Not every artifact belongs in a museum. The Delhi Purple Sapphire. In 1857, a British soldier looted a gemstone from a Hindu temple dedicated to Indra, the god of storms. From that day forward, disaster followed. The soldier lost his fortune, his sanity, and his life. Every owner thereafter wrote the same warnings. Destroy it, throw it into the sea, it brings nothing but death. Eventually, it was donated to the Natural History Museum in London, sealed in a vault with a note that reads, "Whoever opens this box, please cast it into the sea." The museum never did. Ötzi the Iceman. Discovered in 1991 in the Alps, this 5,300-year-old mummy became an archaeological marvel. But the discovery team suffered a strange streak of deaths. The forensic pathologist, the lead mountaineer, even the man who filmed the recovery, all died in accidents or sudden illness within years. 7 people in total. Scientists call it coincidence. Locals whisper that disturbing Ötzi's frozen tomb awoke something that had been waiting since the Copper Age. Tutankhamun's tomb. Howard Carter's team breaks the seal of the pharaoh's tomb, and the world gasps. Months later, expedition sponsor Lord Carnarvon is dead. Blood poisoning from a mosquito bite that struck the same place as a cut on his face. Carter's canary is devoured by a cobra the day the tomb opens. Newspapers declare the curse of the pharaohs. Over 20 people linked to the excavation would die prematurely. Even Carter himself admitted, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." The Black Orloff Diamond. Known as the Eye of Brahma, this 67-carat black diamond was said to be stolen from a shrine in Pondicherry, India. The priests who once guarded it believed it housed a god's wrath. By the 20th century, its Western owners began dying in eerie succession. A Russian princess leapt from a building in Rome. A New York diamond dealer followed, then a Viennese noble. All had worn it as jewelry shortly before their deaths. When gem cutter Charles F. Winson recut the stone in 1950, the deaths stopped, or so he claimed. It's now displayed behind bulletproof glass, under constant guard. The Dybbuk Box. In Jewish folklore, a Dybbuk is a restless, malicious spirit that clings to objects. In 2001, an antique wine cabinet sold on eBay, along with a note claiming it caused night terrors, illness, and even hallucinations. The seller wrote, "Every owner before me has died or gone mad." The box's origin traces back to a Holocaust survivor who used it in seances to speak with the dead. It now rests sealed in a private collection, said to be bound by religious ritual. Skeptics call it internet mythology. Believers call it containment. The Crying Boy Painting. In 1985, a British tabloid reported a pattern so bizarre it bordered on impossible. Dozens of homes destroyed by fire, and in the ashes, one object always survived untouched: a mass-produced painting of a crying child. Firefighters swore the canvases never burned. The painter, Bruno Amadio, once said the models were orphans from war-torn Italy, cursed children, abandoned and immortalized. Psychics claim the portraits trapped the spirits of the lost. So many readers sent in their copies to be destroyed that newspapers held public burnings. The flames consumed everything except the faces. The chair of death, Busby's stoop chair. In 1702, Thomas Busby was hanged in North Yorkshire for murder. Before his execution, he cursed his favourite chair. "May death come to anyone who dares sit in it." For centuries, locals tested the legend. By the 1970s, over 60 sudden deaths had been connected to those who sat in the oak chair: soldiers, delivery men, even construction workers who joked about the curse. The Thirsk Museum eventually hung it 5 feet off the ground, nailed to the wall where no one could ever sit again. It still hangs there today. James Dean's Little Bastard. In 1955, Hollywood rebel James Dean bought a Porsche 550 Spider and nicknamed it Little Bastard. Within a week, he was dead, killed when the car collided head-on at high speed. The wreck was towed to a garage where it crushed a mechanic's legs. Later, a racing driver who bought its engine parts died on the track. Even the truck transporting it caught fire twice. When Little Bastard finally vanished in 1960, no one looked for it. The car that killed America's golden boy had taken enough. The Koh-i-Noor diamond. It's one of the most famous jewels in the world. 105 carats of flawless brilliance that crowns the British monarchy. But the Koh-i-Noor has a darker brilliance, one written in blood. Mined in India, over 700 years ago, it passed through the hands of sultans, emperors, and conquerors, each meeting betrayal, war, or assassination. When the British seized it during colonial rule, it was placed in Queen Victoria's crown. Since then, no male monarch has ever worn it. Legend says the gem curses all men who claim it, bringing ruin to their reign. Today, it remains locked inside the Tower of London, guarded, but never truly safe. The Terracotta Warrior's Curse. In 1974, farmers digging a well in Xi'an, China struck clay, not soil, but the buried army of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Over 8,000 soldiers stood in silence beneath the earth. What followed was not triumph, but tragedy. The farmers who made the discovery were displaced, their lands seized, several dying in poverty. Historians and workers involved in the excavation also faced misfortunes, sudden illness, and unexplained accidents. Whether curse or coincidence, the Terracotta Army remains one of the most haunted discoveries of the modern age. Built to guard an emperor in death, and perhaps still doing so, the woman from Lem statue. Unearthed in Cyprus in 1878, this limestone idol dates back to 3500 BCE. At first glance, it's simple. A stylized female figure, arms crossed. But within a few decades, every family who owned it had died. First the Elphingtons, then the Ivor Evans family, then Lord Thompson Noel, all within years of possession. By the mid-20th century, the artefact was given to the Royal Scottish Museum, where even the curator who handled it died shortly after. It's now displayed under glass, untouched, and known by its other name, the Goddess of Death. The Annabelle doll. before Hollywood turned her into a porcelain nightmare. Annabelle was real, a Raggedy Ann doll owned by two nursing students in 1970. They claimed it moved on its own, left notes written in childish handwriting, and even attacked a friend who mocked it. When paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren took it into their occult museum, they sealed it inside a blessed glass case. A sign warns, positively, do not open. According to museum staff, a visitor once ignored that warning and died in a motorcycle accident hours later. Whether cursed or haunted, the doll remains locked away, smiling patiently at the glass. The Prague Iron Mask. When restorers opened a medieval torture chamber beneath Prague Castle in the 1800s, they found something grotesque. A rusted iron mask shaped like a man's face, with human hair still caught in its hinges. It was displayed briefly, but workers soon reported dizziness, nightmares, and bleeding from the nose after handling it. One curator died suddenly in his sleep. The mask was quietly moved to storage, catalogued and forgotten. Its legend grew. They said the mask still carried the breath of the prisoner who died screaming inside it. No one has worn it since, and no museum dares display it again. The woman from Lem's sister idol, the idol of darkness. In 1920, archaeologists excavating near the original Lem site uncovered another small statue, similar in shape, but carved from darker stone. Within months, 2 researchers died, one from a fall, another from a sudden fever. The artifact vanished during transport to London, only to resurface decades later in a private collection. Every attempt to trace its ownership ends in silence. Scholars who've seen photographs note its uncanny similarity to the goddess of death. But the eyes are different, deeper, hollow, carved all the way through. Whatever this twin represents, even experts agree, it was never meant to be found again. The woman from Lem's modern successor. The woman of Lem's shadow. The 2000s brought a new kind of cursed relic, one born not of stone or bone, but metal and circuitry. In 2004, a collector claimed to have purchased a replica of the Lem statue online. Soon after, he reported electronics failing, doors opening at night, and what he described as a figure of stone reflected in his computer screen. When he attempted to return the piece, the shop no longer existed. Experts later confirmed that replicas had never been authorized. If the stories are true, then somewhere out there, a modern echo of that ancient curse is still moving. From one unsuspecting home to another, 17 relics, 17 objects that remind us history isn't just written, it's haunted. We build museums to keep the past contained, but maybe the past never agreed to stay quiet. Every artifact holds a story, and some are still being written. In blood, coincidence, or something older we refuse to name. From cursed jewels to haunted idols, every civilization leaves behind a warning disguised as beauty. We call them relics, but maybe they were never meant to be found at all. Because the more we dig through history's soil, the more we uncover what should have stayed buried.